So dear brothers and sisters, for any of you who are teachers or anybody maybe who's been to school recently, you will remember a common objection that students may have made to learning a particular thing. Miss, I'm never going to need that. I mean, like integration, never going to need that. Statistics, never going to need that. Like addition, miss, I'm never going to need that. Tables, I've got a phone, miss. Just ask the phone. Phone tells me, miss. So whatever I'm learning here is ridiculous. So I don't have to learn it. And it's a great way of getting out of not doing what you're asked to do. I'll never need it. It's not for me. We have a very interesting expression in our first reading today. It sounds pretty bleak, actually. So the author says, vanity of vanities, the preacher says. Everything is vanity. For we work hard, we do what we need to do. At the end of the day, nothing makes a difference anyway. So why should I try? Why should I try? I mean, if I'm in school, why should I make an effort if it makes no difference anyway? Why should I? If you imagine turning up for training. Imagine if you imagine any sort of like training for sport. If you only focus on that day's training looks ridiculous. If you turn up for any GAA training in February, right? So it's going to be cold, more than likely wet, right? And you're in a pair of shorts. And so you go out there and it's just that mouldy kind of drizzle, you know what I mean? And you're poking around and you're getting jostled around the place. And then the coach says, right, give me another 20 sprints, sprint to the line. What do they call those things where you sprint to the line, then you sprint 20 meters, and you sprint 30 meters, and you sprint midfield and back, and then everyone comes back like drooling and panting, right, give me another one. If you just focus on the training and say, sorry, what is the point of this? This is ridiculous. Why should I bother? So it is with the author here of Ecclesiastes. He's just looking at things going, just what is the point? Everything is vanity. Even if you do attain what the world says we should attain, even if you become super rich, then what? Then I was talking to an American there during the week. I was over in Austria with a group of focus missionaries, and I was talking to this one lady. She was very insightful. She said that for us in America, something that has really entered our spirit, entered the psyche, is that whatever we have is not enough. That's why generally in America, or a lot of Americans, they don't buy houses. You rent them, and when something bigger comes on the market, or better, you rent that. But then there's another house over there, which is slightly bigger and has a pool, so you rent that. And then your neighbor has a Ford F-150. So I have to upgrade, because I had a Honda Civic. So I get a Ford F-150, but then the other neighbor has an F-250. So, well, sure. We aim for that, so we get the Ford F-250. Then he's got the Ford F-250 with the extended cab and leather interior as well. Well, and so it's this kind of idea that no matter what you have, I remember I went to the Gaeltacht years ago with a couple of lads from Dublin, and once they were just discussing their father's yachts. He said, how big is your father's yacht? My father has a 50-foot yacht. Oh, really? My father has a 72-foot yacht. Uh-huh. And then, so imagine actually having a yacht, and then your yacht isn't big enough because someone has a bigger one. It's this kind of idea that no matter what you have to have more. And it's insatiable. If this is your mentality, if this is your goal, no matter what you have, it'll never be enough, and therefore you'll never be at peace, because you'll never be happy with what you have in front of you. So, what on the other hand does our faith propose? Our faith proposes a radically different worldview. It's a worldview. Our faith isn't like a side salad, like an optional extra, like a kind of a healthy bonus to the fun of our lives. The fun is like the meat and spuds, and then like the faith is kind of the side salad. That's kind of the healthy bit that you're supposed to kind of tag along to your meal as well, just for the old vitamins. No, our faith isn't a side salad. Our faith is the main course. It gives us a worldview. We see everything differently because of our faith. Because of our faith, nothing is vanity, in the sense that when he says vanity, he doesn't mean makeup and Botox. He's talking about, like, why bother? It's just pointlessness. Everything's pointless. I'm not sure if you've ever gotten to that stage where, you know, you've done everything that was asked of you, you've achieved all your goals. I think they call it gold medal depression. Often people who get to the peak of their career, and they get all the accolades, they get all the applause, they get all the trophies, and you're still in your 40s or your 50s, and then afterwards, it often happens, like, you know, Olympic medalists, like, because the effort takes to get to that level. I mean, you eat and sleep and drink whatever sport it is that you're trying to achieve in, and then you get it, you get the goal, you come home with the goal, it's a big celebration, all that kind of thing, then you go home. And now what? I'm a media personality, but I wanted to excel in sport, but, like, what now? And often there's a gold medal depression. And then it kind of hits you. It's all vanity. This was like my life's work. And actually, what's the point of it? So Christianity gives us a different, not just a different opinion on certain things, it gives us an entirely different worldview. Now, we mightn't even realize how much our world has changed because of Christianity. Like, after the Second World War, 1948, when the UN declared 30 articles of human rights. So basically, what are our human rights? How do we indicate what human rights are? So they write these 30 articles. If you look at these and look at other world religions, these apply to Christianity only. Like, to recognize that all people are equal, all people are the same. No one has the right to slavery, no one has the right to torture you. Not all religions believe that. You have a right to be recognized everywhere as a person before the law. You are a person. So there's no class system, which exists in other religions. So these rights that we live from, that our laws are based on, are Christian. So our Christianity changes not just, say, certain opinions, it's the whole way of seeing the world. So, for example, then if I'm suffering, if I have an illness, Christian worldview, this person suffering is my brother or sister, I should try and help them. But then there's also, on top of that, there's also another added dimension, that suffering, if medicine can't help me, then that suffering, I unite it to the Lord, I unite it to his cross. Nothing is wasted. I unite that cross, my suffering, to his, for someone else's good. And then, Lord willing, I'll learn how to bear a cross in patience and in love, and that helps me get to heaven, where I'm happy for all eternity. Or wealth, if you have been blessed with wealth. Okay, Christian worldview. This has been given to me for the service of others. So if I have a business, run your business honestly, pay your employees. You should make a profit, you need to make a profit to stay in business. Pay fairly, and try and grow your business, of course, but that's not what you live for. You're still aiming to help people put their kids through college, and if you can help others through your generosity, or build up the church, or build up some good charitable organization, do so. Because your wealth isn't just for you, it's for the building up of God's kingdom. And then you die, and it's all left behind you. And because you've lived well, now you're ready for heaven. Christian worldview, it changes everything. How we live poverty, how we live wealth, how we live illness, how we live music, how we socialize, how we speak. Everything. Everything is affected by our faith, positively affected by how we faith, by our faith, which is a beautiful thing to imagine. This isn't just an optional extra. And so because of our faith, nothing is vanity. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is pointless. Anything and everything can have a purpose in God's plan. And it's an amazing way to live. Our human condition does tend to narrow our view. And we get very focused on the next exam, the next theme, the next contract, the next concert, the next whatever we're doing. We get very focused on the short term. That's like, as I say, in the training for a national championship, you just get focused on today's training was awful, instead of focusing on what's the goal of all of this? What is the ultimate end? What does this training session serve? What does your study today serve? What does your prayer today serve? We're serving the building up of God's kingdom, my salvation with the help of God, and the salvation of those around us. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted. So we ask the Lord today to heal us, if needs be, of any kind of emptiness, that sense of pointlessness, that sense of just how futile our life is. To heal us of any of that, if that's present in any of us, here present or listening at home, and to help us to see that because of the Lord, because of his cross, nothing is wasted. Everything has value, and you matter. Amen. Dear friends, thank you so much for joining us for this homily. It's been a wonderful privilege to be able to reach so many of you through social media. We are in the middle of our fundraising campaign for Holy Family Mission for this year. It's a fundraising skydive which will take place on September 14th. So if you'd like to support that initiative, there'll be 11 of us jumping. If you'd like to support that sponsored skydive, you can do so on our website, holyfamilymission.ie. Go up to the donate tab there, and that will take care of everything. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your prayer, and thank you so much for your support, so that we can continue to serve the many young people that come in our doors and serve all of your good selves. God bless you.